No Man's Sky, a game that has disappointed hundreds, divided thousands, and hyped up millions. Really, more people were crazy over the hype for this game than any other in my memory. But in this review, no hype will be taken into consideration, only objective critical analysis. So let's start with the presentation. No Man's Sky has its moments where you can't help but appreciate its art direction. Whether it's flying through the emptiness of space or touching down on a lush Earth-like planet, except here the grass is purple, there is potential in the presentation for this game. But like most elements of No Man's Sky, the sense of amazement begins to falter once you visit more than 10 planets. And unfortunately for the player, that happens fairly quick. My first planet was a barren mess, brown as far as the eye could see. Thankfully, I had not yet been jaded to the fact that most planets are like this. The longer I played, the deeper I sank into my disappointment. But after several hours, I came across one of those planets that made me remember why I thought the game looked so intriguing in the first place. So when the monotony of ugly planets is broken, it feels rewarding. But to most players, I don't think that reward satisfies them. Sometimes the procedural generation algorithm turns on its masters and produces some of the ugliest textures this generation of gaming will probably see, barring re-releases of older games. They end up so squared off and there is no color merge to be heard of. The creatures and plants you find on these planets have the exact same effect on me. At first it is astounding how weird they look. Some are downright comical, but others stand out where you want to add your own creative name. And that simple feature is unique to No Man's Sky. The only comparable game is Spore. But like the planets, once you see about 20 different species, it falls back down to disinterest in the discovery of these life forms. Space, on the other hand, looks fantastic almost every time. And when giant ships lightspeed their way in, the game pulls you back into the realization that No Man's Sky has more to offer than dull planetary bodies. But then again, space can become this big, empty, albeit beautiful, feeling room, especially at the beginning before the dogfights start happening. The game has its own graphic style, and that aids it in an irreplaceable way, the same way Wind Waker's graphic style defines it. I know if I see No Man's Sky on a screen, I will recognize No Man's Sky, but the algorithm that makes this game what it is ends up hurting the player experience once the game is on for over 3 hours. Exploration is where No Man's Sky is working at its best. When the player focuses on this aspect, they are undoubtedly going to enjoy their experience. But the game wants to pull players along the 3 paths so much, it constantly reminds you to make your way further. So the player ends up rushing around planets and not exploring the various environments. It would be like if Michael Jordan suddenly became solely a spot-up shooter in the prime of his career. It wouldn't be right. And neither is the way No Man's Sky, in a universe where each new discovery can get you that next upgrade, urges you to ignore its numerous massive worlds. Few games can get exploration right. The Bethesda games come to mind, as well as the Witcher series. But here sits No Man's Sky with arguably the most potential to make a fantastic and engaging exploration experience, and it drives you away from it. My instinct led me to ignore the shoot-in story and uncover the language of the Gek and Vy'keen with ecstasy. I haven't gotten close to that feeling since as a child playing a Final Fantasy game and finding a secret character to add to your party after I'd beaten the game 3 times already. I know the experience is completely different, but No Man's Sky put that sense of wonder in me like no other games do today, and that is a special thing. All in all, when you can forget about the game's constant tugging at you, the exploration is what will keep this game afloat. Although I will say I can't help but think what other companies could do with this technology behind them. No Man's Sky at the least does this right, and no other game on the market is offering this scale of manifest destiny. Here is where No Man's Sky tripped over itself. Games like Minecraft and Terraria, even Starbound, get resource gathering and crafting right. this game falls under the weight of itself. There is simply not enough variety between mining titanium and copper or crafting weapon upgrade Sigma and weapon upgrade Tau. How the developers missed this is beyond me, but this is the biggest fault I can give to No Man's Sky. I wish there was more to delve into on this topic, but there isn't. It is simply uninspired and bland. Some people have complained about the interface, but I won't do that here. The game was originally developed for PC, and when games are ported to console, I can forgive odd features like the cursor menu. Also, since the game is so ready to push you further toward the Galactic Center, most players won't learn the ins and outs of resources. There is no way to learn how to easily find Chrysonite or Iridium, which is used in a lot of middle tier upgrades. The feature's bad implementation creates a negative feedback loop that will cause a lot of would-be fans to drop their controllers and pine for games that do this job better. My advice for this crafting and mining is to ignore the game and learn on your own. Because if you don't, you will inevitably be drawn into that numb, repetitive feeling most players have reported. But just because there is a way around it, does not forgive the lazy design from Hello Games. Again, they have the template readily available from other successful game crafting systems, but they ignored it, and this will cost No Man's Sky dearly. No Man's Sky is lonely, and being alone makes you vulnerable. That is where survival comes in. The survival elements in No Man's Sky are pretty well thought out, but the rest of the game hampers it. I love going to the different planets and encountering dynamic weather patterns and beefing up my exosuit to handle it. Preparing for a nice hour of exploration on a scorched planet is fun. Combat is another story. The game's controls feel really jerky, on console at least, and it forces the player to rely on auto-aim for most fights. This makes combat feel less like an accomplishment and more like another hindrance. Space battles are enjoyable after upgrades, but if you go after a cargo ship or space pirates come at you early, you are finished, plain and simple. The life support system sometimes feels annoying, and I can imagine people new to survival games despising that feature. But in reality, it is an easy way to remove the need for food or water and focus on 1 meter instead of 2. I will say it would be fun to hunt creatures for food though. The survival aspects are middling for me. Some things work, while others are held back by the crafting. If a home base or ship expansion was a thing, I think the survival aspects of No Man's Sky would benefit tremendously. I know you can buy new ships, but if they were customizable, more players would venture out into planets and be forced to survive. When it works, it is good, but most of the time it doesn't. When looked at for what it is, No Man's Sky becomes your run-of-the-mill indie survival game, except with the biggest sandbox ever. I really want to be able to spew the virtues of this game, but it is hard to recommend because of its shortcomings. I know a lot of people like number ratings, so I'll give you one. It will be a bit higher than other reviews because I looked only at the game for what it is and not what expectations I had about it or what I think it lacks when compared to the reported features. In every review for the game that I've read, they talked about what they expected from the game and ignored what the game actually was. I give No Man's Sky a solid 7 out of 10. No Man's Sky is not a must-play game, but I do think it has its place in today's market. Do I think it should be a full-price title? No. But when you look past all the hype and expectations, the game settles into its place as an exploration simulator. And that is where No Man's Sky gloriously shines. When it ventures out of that area, it becomes a tiresome, repetitive mess. There is gold in them hills, however. It just takes patience to find it.